The best World Cup ever, Herc. You telling Gianni Infantino to get lost, or is he speaking truth?
All right. Is he talking on field?
Yes, I guess so. I don't know. No, he talked about all the workers and volunteers, so I guess he's talking about off-field, fan experience. David Beckham talked about how the fan experience was so great here in Qatar. I'm sure David Beckham
did that for free?
I'm sure he had a real fan experience. I'm sure David Beckham was on the metro today when it went down.
Yes, it did go down. Here's the thing. You can, and you will have to take into account all the off-field stuff, right? Mm-hmm. If you want. And I'm sure many people will go that route. How much did Qatar spend?
$220 billion.
$220 billion. Not Gianni Infantino's money, not FIFA's money, so it's a success in their eyes. Let me concentrate on the field.
Sure.
Okay? Let me give the players their due really quickly. I've never seen a World Cup like this or heard about a World Cup like this. Because when you're our age, you've not watched all the World Cups. Mm-hmm. And there's not footage of all the World Cups. And what you can get are glimpses or behind the scenes glimpses of said World Cups or snapshots, excuse me. But the most goals in a World Cup, this World Cup. Star power, this World Cup. Narratives, Messi's last dance, Cristiano Ronaldo's possibly last dance, the passing of the torch to Kylian Mbappe, the first African semifinalist in history in Morocco, massive upsets. I'm talking about Japan wiping out not only Germany, but Spain, Morocco wiping out a whole Iberian Peninsula that included Spain, Portugal. Who else did it include there?
Well, they didn't get past France.
They didn't get past France.
No,
they had one
moving
more.
up.
Belgium.
Moving up into Europe.
Belgium. Thank you. That's who I wanted.
Okay.
Ridiculous.
Not on the Iberian Peninsula.
No, I know, but I'm going through there. Ridiculous amount of narratives and moments and emotion that I could remember. I don't know if I'd call it the best World Cup because you'd have to watch every single World Cup to really, but I can't think of another World Cup that had so many storylines and was so emotional and they got people so invested in. So from that standpoint, it was a very good World Cup.
It's a subjective discussion. It's a barroom discussion. It's a debate that will never end. Objectively, you just saw the stat there. We saw it from Mr. Chip earlier, our great stats guy at mostly on ESPN Deportes, but has actually an account in English on Twitter as well. That's great follow. Before the final, he said, you need 6 goals in this final for it to be the highest scoring World Cup of all time. And before the game, producer Beto and I looked at each other and said, there's no way we get a 3-3. I mean, no chance that happens. We literally got a 3-3. It gets to 172. There were 171 scored in 2014, 98 as well. Real quick, before we move on, he said that before the finals. So
wasn't it the Switzerland final? Switzerland tournament?
No, that's for most goals per game. Most goals. He said that before the final, so he said that. So we can't be prisoners of the moment if we're going to listen to him there. And the final thought here is, it is self-serving propaganda for Gianni Infantino. He wants everybody to say that this is the best World Cup ever because of everything that happened in the lead-up, and I'm not going to brush past that. I'm not going to go through it. But when he says, I want to thank all the workers and volunteers, really? That's what he wants to do. He wants to talk about the workers and volunteers. He wants to talk about the migrant workers. That's where he wants to go while talking about the best World Cup ever. I think if there's anybody who needs to look in the mirror, it's Gianni Infantino. Let's get to the individual awards here because they were handed out just after the final. And no surprise, it was pretty much a clean sweep for Argentina with one exception. So Golden Boot, of course, goes to Kylian Mbappe. He finishes with 8 and that hat trick in the final. The first hat trick in a final since Jeff Hurst did it way back in 1966 when truly the ball was brown. Everybody else from Argentina, Golden Ball, Lionel Messi. What a way to go out. Golden Glove, Dibu Martinez. Young player of the tournament. This surprised me. Enzo Fernandez. Not because he's not deserving of his flowers, but I would have thought Julian Alvarez, maybe a Jude Bellingham. Are you cool with it, Herc? The end of tournament awards. Any gripes there?
A few.
Okay.
Debo was very influential to them passing anytime they had a knockout round. That's a reality. Lavakovic, I thought, was...
Croatia, yep.
Yeah, excellent. Excellent. Bono, I thought, had another shout that could have been ahead of him. I mean, literally, Morocco didn't give up more than 1 goal until the semifinal.
Yep. They only gave up 1 through the first
own goal against the
games
Canadian game. Canada did that. Got no issue with the golden ball. I got no issue with the golden boot. Obviously, you can't because they're numbers.
Yep.
Young player of the year, Enzo Martinez comes in and really plays for the first time versus Mexico. That goal right there. Had a shot for Julian.
Alvarez, yep.
Julian Alvarez. I probably would have given it to Julian, even though Jude Bellingham was very worthy.
Right.
You know?
If England makes it, one more
round, you could definitely make a case for him. So, all in all, you expect this, though. You expect the team that wins to clean shop when it comes to the awards.
Especially when it goes down the way that it did, right? Messi has to be the goal.
And you can make an argument for Dibu. You can make an
100%.
argument for Enzo.
Why don't you make your arguments? Why don't we take a look at Herculez Gomez, team of the 2022 FIFA World Cup in Qatar. And I'm sure there were some difficult choices.
Let me tell you who my head coach is, by the way. Scaloni!
Had to be.
Livakovic. I went with Livakovic even though Bono had a very good record leading up to the semis. Just because Livakovic was, I thought, more influential in the game. We'll get into that a little bit more. Theo Hernandez, he was at times a defensive liability, but did so much going down the left-hand side. Assist, the goal, timely goal versus Morocco. Vardiol, insane to think he's only 20 years old. That's crazy to me. Saiz, think about this. Saiz got injured in the knockout round versus Spain and kept playing pretty much to the lead-up in that France game and was the anchor of a team that only gave up one goal heading into the semis for Morocco. Hakimi, he was such a good player. Amrabat, he was one of my favorite players this World Cup. Surely he's out of Fiorentina. No way he stays there. Griezmann, I thought he was massive. You can make an argument he was one of the better players, if not the best, before the final for France. Jude Bellingham was a monster. I've got zero doubts that he will be the highest transfer of the upcoming window, or summer window, if you will, if they wait for that. Mbappe, I don't need to say anything there. Giroud, this was so tight between Giroud and Julian Alvarez. And the reason I give it to Giroud is Julian came on late.
Right.
Giroud, I thought, was influential for France in every single game he played, except the final, but I think that's got more to do with his injury. Off the ball, on the ball, scoring goals. He had 4 goals as well. And then Messi, what can you say? A fitting end to a ridiculous career.
I'm not going to pick at this too much, but I will note, no Luka Modric?
That's a tough one.
Why?
Where are you going to put him?
No, it's fair, but it's...
I
mean, he did get his team further than Bellingham.
Yeah, I thought...
And his team beat Amrabat. I mean, if you want...
You want to take Amrabat for Modric?
No.
Is that what you're saying?
Well, I think these teams of the tournament sometimes are not reflective
of
like
my hardest decision.
Setup. And I think what you did there, which I actually kind of like, is you set it up like a real team.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do, Sebi. This was my most difficult decision because I'm a huge Luka Modric fan. And I'd love to give him a Lifetime Appreciation Award here and say he deserves it for all he is.
I think we did that on last night's show.
Yeah. But at times I even thought Basovic and the other player plays with him. I'm drawing a blank. Chelsea player.
Mateo
Kovacic. I thought he was even better than Luka Modric at times, but Luka Modric, 37 years old, just continue to marvel at his career, marvel how physically gifted he is. To date, with that technical ability, that vision, that two-way play, but he just missed out right here. I really had a tough time leaving him out.
So you did put 2 Morocco players that right on the team?
3.
Who?
You have Saiz, Hakimi, Amrabat.
Oh, you threw Hakimi in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, one of the Morocco players I thought might have had a shout for this is Unahi, the number 8.
Yeah.
People loved him.
Where are you going to put him?
Again, I mean, it's hard to take anybody out, but guy had a solid tournament, had a great
Ridiculous tournament. Ziyech, I tried finding a way to get Ziyech in. I couldn't get him either.
Right.